Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rich Cicha. I am with SourceLink. Welcome to our Coffee Break series. My title at SourceLink is Director of Client Postal Solutions, and this particular coffee break centers around the United States Postal Service and what to expect from them in 2013. The PAEA, the Postal Accountability Act that was passed in 2006, put some limitations on the amount of postage that can go up within a given year. It cannot go up, on average, more than the Consumer Price Index. So here are some of the highlights of the postage rate increase. Now, although it's all products, mailing, and shipping services will increase by 4%, the specific rates that we're looking at is mailing services, which is more along the lines of first-class letters, first-class flats, standard mail mailings, will increase approximately 2.6%, with an overall average increase of about 2.57%. And here are some of the general highlights for everyone to pay attention to. So, for those people that are still putting full rate stamps on pieces when you're sending your letters out to family and friends, you will now pay 46 cents for a stamp. There are some international charges in there. If you're looking to mail a 1-ounce piece internationally, you'll pay $1.10, and the postcard rates actually increase to 33 cents. What can a mailer do, a mail owner and or a mail service provider in our industry, what can you do to minimize the increase? Well, you want to take advantage of post-mailing solutions. What are those? Well, first off, there's drop shipping. And for those of you that don't understand what drop shipping is, the Postal Service is very, very good at delivering mail from your local post office to your house. But they realize that they're not terribly good at delivering mail from the East Coast, let's say, to the West Coast. So what they did is they offer discounts to mailers that have the ability to do that for them. So you pay a freight company, a logistics partner, to bring your mail from, as an example, the East Coast to Los Angeles. You drop the mail in the Los Angeles post office, and the Postal Service gives you a discount for doing that. In addition to drop shipping, there is a commingling process, which is basically what the Postal Service does anyway. The Postal Service takes mailings in from everywhere and commingles them together to make the files more and more dense, ultimately getting it down to the carrier route so your local can actually deliver the mail to the homes. Well, if you do that process for them, they will also give you a postage discount. And there is something called co-palletization and or co-mailing. Co-palletization is basically moving full trays of mail, taking those trays, combining them with other trays going to the same location, and creating now new SCF destination pallets, which can now be taken advantage of in your drop shipping process that I mentioned earlier. There are a number of promotions that the Postal Service is using that they're implementing in 2013. Let's talk specifically about these promotions. So you have your mobile coupon and click to call. It basically explains that the mail piece needs to include some sort of a QR code that will allow to scan that barcode and bring you to some sort of a mobile optimized website. The second one here is the earned value reply mail, which basically gives credit to mailers for their reply mail process. Again, so you need to have some registered permits and mailer IDs are required. But you get per mail piece scanned, which is a decent amount of money, especially for those people that anticipate a good amount of reply mail coming back. Emerging technologies to me is very, very exciting, and near-field communication is something similar to the Speed Pass option that Mobil Oil put in place to allow you to pay for your gas when you're at the gas pump. You basically wave the tag in front of some sort of a chip-enabling device, like the gas pump, and it automatically links to your credit card to help you pay for the gas. Augmented reality is something interesting as well, where when you scan that barcode with a proper phone, it creates a three-dimensional figure almost pertaining to the mail piece itself. So instead of just looking at a two-dimensional printed piece, you now have the ability to look at it in three-dimensional format. One of the limitations on near-field communications is the fact that most phones don't have the ability to do that yet. But you can see in 2011, there were only 1% of the devices enabled. In 2012, we're looking at up to 15%. I would imagine in 2013, that number would increase dramatically. An additional promotion is the picture permit, where instead of having one of those bland indicias on your mail pieces, here you can actually put a picture of your company's logo or anything like that in that information, in that little space in the top right of the envelope. Unfortunately, the approval process is extensive. We do recommend a 6-month lead time there. If you can get that entire process taken care of, you look to officially register on June 1st. Product samples is how it sounds. Parcels that contain product samples. can get you 5% off eligible postage. And there are the dates again, registration period. And the last promotion that they brought up, the mobile buy it now, which again, where the barcode would take the prospect to some sort of a mobile optimized site where they can specifically purchase the product that the mail piece was intended to solicit. Why is the Postal Service increasing postage? Why are they offering postal promotions? Now in 2012, their fiscal year ended September 30th, they lost over $16 billion. And what does this really mean to the Postal Service? The interesting part of that $16 billion is that over $11 billion of it is related to the pre-funding of retiree health benefits. The Postal Service is the only federal agency that's required to prepay for their retiree health benefits, and that amounts to a massive amount of money. The pre-funding, as you can see, made up 70% of that net loss. You can consider that $13 billion of the 16 were completely out of the Postal Service's control. Now, one of the ways in which the Postal Service can reduce their overall expenses is by allowing them to move from a mandatory 6-day delivery to a 5-day delivery. Now, with Congress back in session now, their obvious focus is based on that fiscal cliff, and they're working towards other issues now, and the Postmaster General is trying very hard to get them to ensure that the Postal Service is on the docket as Congress moves along throughout 2013. Well, what else can they do? They can allow the Postal Service to offer some non-postal products, or maybe allowing the Postal Service to be inside of Walmart's, as an example, or Target's, instead of having their own standalone post offices. But the real issue is attempting to resolve the overfunding of that retiree health benefit program. It is a significant amount of money, and there have been independent studies identifying that the Postal Service has overpaid by an exorbitant amount of money. One of the things the Postal Service can do is go through something that they're calling a network rationalization. And what it means is, if you owned your own business and you had 3 facilities around the country and business was going down, you'd probably end up looking at closing one of those facilities. Well, it's not as easy as you can imagine for the Postal Service to do such a thing. But this is the plan that they're looking at. In 2006, they had approximately 673 processing facilities around the country. Well, by 2015, they're looking to reduce that by over 400 facilities down to a more reasonable and manageable 232. And here's the plan. Everything cannot be done in light speed, and as you can imagine with the Postal Service, a very large entity, things take a long time. In the summer of 2012, Phase 1 began, and they consolidated and or closed 48 facilities. Now, they were smart about it, and the busiest time of year is certainly around the holidays, so they delayed any sort of migration during the holiday period, yet they'll start up on Phase 1 again in spring of 2013 with an additional 140 facilities on the table, and then wait again during the holiday season, then come back again in 2014 with the remaining 89. Originally, they had a very aggressive timeline, 264 locations in a 1-year period. That would have been disastrous. So, as I mentioned earlier, they're looking at closing approximately 140 facilities by spring of 2013, and then an additional 89 in spring of 2014. What hurdles are out there? Well, obviously, delivery uncertainty. As a mailer, you're probably used to receiving certain service standards historically, that you've always mailed to certain areas, certain quantities, certain types of pieces. Well, changes in service standards are going to happen. Facilities are closing. Facilities aren't accepting mail from certain places. Things are going to change. And how is that going to affect your overall campaign? The calls that we're getting these days are, look, we've never really considered a mail tracking service, but with everything going on and the uncertainty within the Postal Service, we need it now more than ever. Our information, we attempt to provide meaningful information to those who are looking to use it. So as an example, you can see here, as your mail campaign moves along the process, this is just a sample map that we have within our program. Little by little, the state map changes colors and gives everybody an idea as to where their mail is at any given point and how long it's taking to get it home. And as things change within the Postal Service, this information is becoming more and more useful. I hope all that information was interesting, and there's some items in there that you learned that you didn't necessarily know before, but there's always some more information on our website, www.sourcelink.com. Thank you very much for listening, and have a wonderful day.